Ladies and gentlemen, the Houston Texans are shocking the NFL world. After blowing out the Cleveland Browns 45-14, everyone is looking at the Houston Texans as a potential dark horse in this playoff race. But when you look at the season, this shouldn't surprise you. The Houston Texans have been proving people wrong all year. Look at some of their victories. A 37-17 win at Jacksonville. Against the Steelers, 30-6. CJ Stroud only needed 46 seconds to come from behind and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 39-37. And then walking into Cincinnati and leaving there with the victory 30-27. It has been insane watching this Houston Texans team and year one of their rebuild. Do not forget, at this point last year, we were looking for our next head coach. It was that bad for the Houston Texans. They were on a slippery slope. They were about to be a dysfunctional franchise, but then something changed. Do not forget the press conference from our general manager, Nick Caserio, wrapping up last season, where he said, "If I don't do a good job, I will not be here next year." It is insane that we go from having that conversation to now where we are in the divisional round in the playoffs with a 10-win season, and you might have your offensive rookie of the year in CJ Stroud, your defensive rookie of the year in Will Anderson Jr., your coach of the year in Demeco Ryans, and your executive of the year in Nick Caserio. What we are watching is insane, ladies and gentlemen. I said this is like a movie earlier during the season. When Demeco Ryans chose to come back to the Houston Texans, first of all, no one wanted Demeco Ryans to come to Houston. I am not forgetting that. But this was his dream job. The NFL, they posted a clip of him and J.J. Watt when J.J. Watt was still on the Cardinals, still playing football. They embraced after their game, their last time playing against each other. And J.J. Watt told head coach Demeco Ryans, "Go make Houston great again." And what did Demeco Ryans say? "I will." This was his dream job from the start. And to see him take this team to relevancy, it's emotional, man. It is emotional because you're talking about 7 wins combined in the last 2 years. You were talking about having a quarterback who you thought was the guy. So much stuff happened. I'm not going to get into it. You traded him away to the Cleveland Browns, and you had 2 horrible seasons, 2 one-and-dones at head coach David Culley, Lovie Smith. No one respected the Houston Texans, and everyone expected us to be the next dysfunctional franchise in the NFL. It started with head coach Demeco Ryans. And when you saw the press conference that they had for him, I mean, having his highlights, do not forget Demeco Ryans was a stud here in Houston. You're talking about defensive rookie of the year, a captain for multiple years. We all knew once Demeco stepped into the building, it was going to be his show. And you saw the little changes. You saw the changes in ownership. Cal and Hannah McNair both look like fantastic owners. I had a chance to talk with them at training camp when it was open to the public. They will give you the time of day. They will have 5 to 10 minute conversations of you, wish you well, and actually care. We saw Cal McNair grill burgers with Big Sarge. Right then and there, we saw this Houston Texans franchise changing for the good. I remember the first open training camp practice that was available to the public. The line started at 3:30 in the morning. 3:30 in the morning, the gates opened at 8. And when the gates opened at 8, you had to go wait in another line because it was another 2-hour wait because practice started at 10. But you could tell right there that the city of Houston was believing. Then free agency happened, man, and you saw what they were trying to do. Bring in veterans for every single position group because we know a lot of high-profile rookies were coming, and we needed a veteran in each and every single one of those groups, but veterans who could play. For the offensive line, it was Shaq Mason. You traded for him from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, gave him a 3-year extension, and he's been fantastic for you. You extended Laramie Tunsil, and he is once again a Pro Bowler. In the tight end group, you brought in Dalton Schultz, and Dalton Schultz has been your number 1 tight end all year, had a touchdown in the playoff game against the Browns. Your running back, Devin Singletary, was supposed to be the backup. He wasn't almost supposed to have 900 yards this year. It was supposed to be the Dameon Pierce show. Where would this Houston Texan offense be with that Devin Singletary? For your wide receivers, Noah Brown, Robert Woods. At one point, Robert Woods led the NFL in catches on 3rd and 4th down, building a connection with young C.J. Stroud earlier in the year. And Noah Brown, when healthy, was dynamic for the Houston Texans. The only Texans wide receiver besides Andre Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins that have back-to-back 150-yard performances. Your quarterback room, Case Keenum, you added a veteran, the H-Town legend, and he won you a game against the Tennessee Titans where they were trying to embarrass you with that uniform. That game got Mike Vrabel fired. On the defensive side, Jimmy Ward. Now, Jimmy Ward done for the season on IR, but he was a captain for you. Won the game for you against Denver with the INT. In your linebacking core, Denzel Perriman. Up and down, dealing with suspensions, but at training camp was your starting linebacker, was a leader in that room, still is a leader in that room. Defensive line, Sheldon Rankins coming from the New York Jets, being familiar with that type of defense that Demeco Ryans wants to run, has 6 sacks on the year. Not only did the Houston Texans general manager Nick Caserio bring in veterans, but he brought in dudes that played and dudes that made impact during this season. When the offensive line went down and we started only one of our original starting guys, Shaq Mason, who has been healthy all year, thank God, knock on wood, trading for Kendrick Green for the Pittsburgh Steelers, trading for Josh Jones from the Arizona Cardinals, bringing back Desmond King, bringing in Derek Barnett after he was released for the Eagles. Derek Barnett now has 3.5 sacks for the Houston Texans. He had one in the playoff game. It should have been 2 or 3. Guys, we haven't even talked about the draft yet. We haven't even got to the meat, and that is C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson Jr., Juice Scruggs, Tank Dell, Dylan Horton. This rookie draft class, Xavier Hutchinson, has been insane. You start with C.J. Stroud. This is the guy. This is one of the next great quarterbacks in the NFL. When they are already comparing you to Joe Montana and Tom Brady, you are destined for greatness. C.J. Stroud, a man of God, man. Give praises to his Lord and Savior, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Once again, very upset and disappointed that CBS decided to take that out of his post-game interview. But C.J. Stroud himself has changed the city of Houston. Will Anderson Jr., when you traded up for him, that was just insane. The crowd was hype. I was at Miller Lite Outdoor Theater, and when we heard the commissioner say the Texans traded up, and when we heard Will Anderson's name, it erupted. It was louder at Miller Outdoor Theater than what it was at any of the Houston Texans home game last year. And this was draft night. This was night 1. But we saw the future there. Then you trade up for Juice Scruggs, and Juice Scruggs against the Cleveland Browns didn't give up a pressure, didn't give up a sack. Has been healthy to finish up the season. We didn't see him for the first 8-9 weeks, guys. And he is playing lights out. Tank Dell. It sucks that Tank Dell is out for the year. It does. Because this Houston Texans team would have been favorites to go to the Super Bowl if Tank Dell was healthy. Do not forget the story, guys. Once C.J. Stroud was drafted, congratulating him. Hey, tell him to come get me. Do not forget, he also texted the Houston Texans on Instagram the night before the draft. Don't let me leave the city. CJ Stroud answered that wish. And Tank Dell is he is already a fan favorite here in Houston. 700 yards on the year. I think it's 6 touchdowns. He was on pace for 1,000 yards, maybe even more. Who knows how much dangerous this Houston Texans team is right now with Tank Dell. It's insane what we are watching, ladies and gentlemen. This turnaround, I cannot remember it happening recently. And if I am wrong, let me know. Maybe I think it was the Cincinnati Bengals when they got Jamar Chase, when they got Joe Burrow, and then they go to the Super Bowl in year 2, I believe. But I think this Houston Texans team is poised for greatness, guys. You guys let me know how you feel about this Houston Texans season, man. It's not over. It's still going on. We are still witnessing greatness, but I just want to take a moment to appreciate what we have seen so far, man. For more Houston Texans content, y'all feel free to follow me for more, man. Y'all know what to do. Go H-Town. Have a very blessed day.